Final week of Java tutorials. So far, we have written lots of programs using the procedural and also object-oriented basics aspects of the Java programming language. And for the final week, we would like to show you how you can provide different implementations for a single application, namely the birthday book. And then we're going to explore how you can use two very common so-called collection library classes, hash table and also array list. So that's something we'd like to show to you, and then I'll show you a little bit of the API page, assuming that you have learned about the principles from the lectures. I will include some links on the YouTube video comment section, and then you can actually refer to it if you want to review the basics about the principle of why we are using Java API. But it's still very important for you actually to know how you can use the primitive array together with the counter, like how we discussed it in week number 8 tutorial videos. It's quite crucial for you as a beginner to always know how you can build things from scratch before you actually reuse somebody else's work in the Java API library. All right, first of all, let me set up the projects, and then I will discuss the simple application, namely the birthday book that we want to build for the final week of the tutorials. Let's now go on to your package explorer, and let's now right click and new Java projects. And then week number 12, this will be our final projects for the semester. So week underscore 12, and then say finish. And then just make sure you don't create the module info.java file, and don't create. All right, so now we're going to get the source folder. This week, I still just want to write more JUnit test cases together with you, because it's so crucial for you to carry that ability beyond this course. For the console application, you can feel free to do it by running the birthday book application as your own exercise. But for now, I just want to do more JUnit tests as opposed to console application. Let me create two packages. So one will be where we put the logic, the model classes. So let's say package and then model. And then another one, JUnit tests. JUnit tests. And finish. All right, so these are the two packages we'll work on for the subsequent videos. Let me now talk about the simple birthday book application I would like to develop with you together this week. All right, this will be a conceptual model I would like you to have. The idea will be you don't really want to think too much in terms of the implementation details when you actually try to sketch your design, because eventually we are going to provide two different implementations, one by using array list, the other one by using hash table. The implementation details for these two data structures from the Java library are quite different. I will definitely visualize them when I get to them. However, before we do that, we really want to sketch what can be done conceptually, right? And for that, I want to really try to draw as precisely as possible. What would be the most precise way to really talk about your conceptual model? The answer will be math. For those of you who might be taking maybe Math 1019, about the introduction to the logic for computer science was on discrete logic. I'm not talking about something very deep, just something very basic. There's something called function, mathematical function. Right? For example, you can think about you have a mathematical function maybe called power. Right? You can say if I got power, which is going from maybe integer into integer. So don't worry too much if you're not too sure about the notation, right? I'm simply saying power is actually a function which will go from integer to integer. Okay, so now let's say power of 2. Let's make it a little bit easier. Let's say power 2. So now if I say power 2 over here, and then if I say 2, it's going to return 2 to the power of 2, which will be 4. If I say power 2, maybe 4 to the power of 2 will be 16, right? So just some example for mathematical function. And so now we want to talk about this in terms of the application, how we can formulate a birthday book which stores people's birthday and also their names. How can we formulate it as a mathematical function? It's actually quite straightforward. Let's now go on to the visualization, and then I'll show to you the methods that we're going to build eventually. Okay, let's see this. You can think about for mathematical function, there are one set called the domain over here, and the other set is called a range. So we always want to map from some value from the domain into some value in the range. So you can think about in the PAL2 example, this integer is so-called a domain. So one value in the domain is simply 2, and the result will be the range. Okay, it's a very quick review about what you learned in your logic course. And in the case of the birthday book application, we say that the domain set is going to contain the set of names of people, right? So you can see Alan, Mark, Tom, and also Jim. It's really important to know that. So for the domain, there should be no duplicates. Meaning that we don't really store, for example, Alan's birthday twice in the same birthday book, right? So Alan only have one single entry, only one single mapping in the birthday book, and also Mark only have one single mapping. So now how do we actually map from domain into value? Conceptually, you can think about here, Alan is mapped to the birthday May 21st. So here I'm not really being I'm just being a little bit informal of sketching the idea about birthday. I will define that as a Java class a little bit later, okay, in the subsequent video. And then Mark is actually mapped to August 11 as his birthday, and also Tom happened to have the same birthday, which is okay as long as Mark and Tom, they are different persons. In that case, mapping to the same birthday actually makes reality sense, because it's okay for two people to have the same birthday, or even 3 people, right? All right, that's about the conceptual model. You can see we got domain being the set of people's names, and also you got range as the set of possible birthday. Not necessarily all the possible birthday, but all the collection of all people's birthday that they are actually stored in the birthday book. Let's now take a look at the method that we're going to define quickly. Okay, there will be a variety of them. The first one will be, let's assume the following. Let's say we got let's say we got a context objects BB of type birthday book. Let's assume that. Okay, so this will be the context objects, and let's see, the way we define that will be, we'll say birthday book. So this will be a class that we will define, we'll declare and define later. Okay, let's say BB. Let's say we declare that, and then of course we have to initialize it properly. Let's say in the at some point of your application, once the BB has been created, so now these are the methods that we can call upon the context objects. So either we can say, for example, get size. So this will simply return how many entries have you stored in the birthday book. Each entry is defined as the person's name that has been mapped to some birthday, right? For example, you can see Alan maps to May 21st, this will be considered as one entry, and Mark mapped to August 11, second entry, and then third entry over here, and fourth entry. You can think about how many mappings you got correspond to the size of the birthday book. So you can think about over here is quite important. For every line I'm trying to draw over here across the domain and range is called a mapping. And how many mappings do we have in this current birthday book? We got 4. Okay, so the answer will just be 4. So you can see it's going to return some integer value. So get size is an accessor method that we are defining. Okay, and let's see the next one. The next one will be, let's say, get birthday. So get birthday will be an accessor method by passing some name over here, and we can also say get birthday over here, and then we got another name. However, there are 2 cases to actually consider. Either the name already exists in the birthday book, for example, Jim over here. So now in this case, you can see Jim simply mapped to October 15th. So in that case, you can simply just return October 15th, right? You can see October 15th. On the other hand, Jeremy does not really exist in the domain set. We only got Alan, Mark, Tom, and Jim. We don't have Jeremy. So now in this case, we can say it's simply just going to return maybe null. Okay, let's say that there are 2 cases for us to worry later. Okay, and then the next one will be, let's say we want to increase the size of the birthday by adding new entry. So there are 2. So here we say add birthday here, add birthday, and we simply say Suyan, and also her birthday over here. So what would that correspond to the diagram, diagrammatically speaking? So that means, first of all, you have to check to see whether Suyan is already an existing name in the birthday book. In this case, it is not, because we only got Alan, Mark, Tom, and Jim. So what we're doing is we are adding Suyang over here, first of all, as in the domain. And then Suyang should now map to this particular birthday. So that'll be May 21st. So May 21st is already in the range, right, conceptually. So what we will do is we're going to say Suyang is now going to map to May 21st. So that's what we're doing. And now you can see that if you try to call bb.size again, if you try to call that, it's not going to be 4 anymore, because now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It should be 5 instead, right? Just notice that. All right, we can also, since we can add, we can also remove some existing entry. Okay, let's see this. Let's say, let me use maybe blue over here. I can also remove a birthday. Right? And when I want to remove a birthday, so we can uniquely identify a mapping by using the so-called the key or the domain value, Alan, like a name over here. So now if I say remove birthday, what I'm doing is basically like this. So I'm saying that, so you can see Alan is an existing name over here. And if I want to say I want to remove the corresponding entry of Alan, so that means I'm really removing this particular mapping over here. Right? That's what you're doing conceptually. But we're going to see exactly how to do it when we actually get to the individual implementations by using array list or hash table. So it will be slightly different. Okay, but conceptually they're really the same. Okay, so that's about how you can remove a birthday of some existing name. Of course, if you're trying to remove maybe, for example, the birthday for Jeremy, who doesn't exist in the birthday book, you will simply do nothing to the birthday book. Right? Finally, it will be an interesting accessor method or query for you to implement over here. Let's now try to highlight it over here. Let me use a different color. Let's say purple. Let's say remind over here. So remind is a very common feature if you want to build maybe some mobile app for your birthday book application. Let's say this. Let's say today can be August 11th. And maybe next sometime next week might be November 13th, and the app is simply just going to remind you about your friends whose birthday are coming up, right? So now, for example, if we say this, let's say here in the first case, if we say August 11th, right? So now if you look at August 11th, it's actually an existing birthday in the range, right, over here. So that means you want to remind about which friends will actually get their birthdays coming in August 11th, right? So now if you go backwards, in this case, it's going to be like this. It's going to be, if you go backwards, it's going to be both Mark, let me try to be careful. It's going to be both Mark and also Tom. So you're going to return this particular set, or you can think about this particular list or array of string names. That the exact type, we can talk about it when we get to the implementation. So what this will return over here is going to be basically, let's say an array, Mark and Tom. So both persons will actually get their birthday on the same day, August 11th, which we want to remind about. Mark and Tom over here. And what about the second case? The second case over here, we say November 13th. However, you can see at the moment, according to the range over here, the current birthday does not store anyone whose birthday is on November 13th. You can see it's not there. So what should be the result? Nobody to really remind about. So it will just be an empty array, okay, or empty array list. It's kind of up to how we want to implement it. All right, so that's about the problem we want to solve for this week, and then. In the coming videos, I'm going to explore 2 possible ways to implement this simple birthday book application. Right. The first one we're going to use will be array list, and the second implementation will be a hash table. And then they're both going to serve the same purpose by passing the same set of JUnit tests. That's what we'll see.